Last week, we saw the S&P 500 made another new all-time high. And this indicator has been 100% reliable in terms of telling us to expect a new high for the S&P 500. Now, if you've been watching my video for quite a while, you should have known that this indicator in the past have demonstrated itself that every time that a Globex all-time high is made by the ES, it tells us that there is a higher high coming from the S&P 500 to validate that all-time high from the ES during the Globex hour. And once again, it has come to. The last time it did that was back here, although yes, we did get a little bit of a pullback before it came back up and put in a new all-time high last week. So once again, we're asking this question, is this high a top? In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the sentiment and the internal and also the price action and see what the market is telling us. Is this a top or not? So stay tuned. If we take a closer look at this chart here of the ES, notice that the Globex all-time high here is still a pullback and then come up to make a new all-time high. Likewise here at this Globex all-time high, it did a pullback and now it came up and make a new all-time high. The other point that I want to illustrate is see all these high is made during the Globex hour and eventually during the regular trading hour session, it has to go and validate these highs here. So that's the reason why we were expecting this new high to come. And it shouldn't be a surprise to you if you've been watching the video. And I've been talking about this for weeks, expecting a new high from the S&P 500 due to the Globex all-time high from the ES need to be validated during the regular trading hour session. Now let's go and take a look at some of the sentiment and also the internal. And before I do that, let me show you that this week I have started a text version of the weekly market analysis. If you like to see the text version, just go to my Substack newsletter, and I will put the link in the description below, so you could click on that link and come to this page, and you could go and read the text and get a little bit more detail of the narrative. In this video, I'm just going to go to and highlight some of the key points. Then you could go back and take a look at the, go read the text version and get a little bit more detail on that. So starting with the sentiment chart here, we see that the VIX is down here at 13.51. So definitely the market participant are very complacent right now and has no fear. And also look at the put call ratio is down at 0.41. And that shows them it's always on and they're buying call like there's no tomorrow. And here looking at the up-down volume ratio, we see the up-down volume ratio was mostly positive throughout the week, and also the daily advance decline also show more advancing issue than declining issue throughout the week. And the new high, new low, the number of stock making new 52-week high continues to outnumber the stock making new 52-week low. And here we see the cumulative AD line. Notice that it came down right here and show a negative divergence right here. And we said there was two possible ways for this negative divergence that we saw. One is for the S&P 500 to come down and get in sync with the AD line, or for the AD line to come up and make a new higher high while the S&P 500 continue to push through into a high. And that's exactly what it did. So right now, we're basically looking at a in sync of the AD line and the S&P 500. And this tells us this new high is what we call a confirmed high. I'm not going to go through the detail on the NASDAQ here. What I will do is I'm going to just highlight this, AD line here. You can see that the AD line here for the NASDAQ is coming up, making a higher high, while this NASDAQ 100 is kind of flat. So that's going to give us a little bit of a positive divergence, and that is a good sign. And here we are looking at the chart of the indexes. You can see that we see the Dow Jones Industrial, the New York Stock Exchange Composite, and the S&P 500, they all made a new high and also closed with a new all-time high. And yeah, some of the price action from previous week. I'm not going to go do it on detail here. I would suggest that you just go and read the post on Substack. What I will do is just go to a couple scenario. Here is the scenario for the SPY, the S&P 500 ETF. So what we basically are looking at is the possibility of this being pulling back to this HVN and see if we'll get a bounce off from that and come up to a new all-time high and come up to this upper range of the weekly expected move. The other scenario is that if this pullback and down here at this HVN does not provide any support, then basically will turn into resistance. Then we look for a support down here somewhere around 592 area and see where we get a bounce back up. Likewise, for the NASDAQ ETF, the QQQ, I would suggest that you just go and read that. And right now, we're basically looking at the scenario. So the scenario is that for a pullback to come down to this about 503, then we get a bounce back up to this upper range, or we dip below and come down to this HVN near the 496 area to see where we get a bounce back up. And here's the ES. Likewise, go and read that article if you want more detail. Here's the scenario. Basically, looking at the possible pullback similar to the SPY is down here to this HVN and get a bounce back up to the upper range, or come down, break this, and look for a support, potential support near this 5962 area and see what we get a potential bounce back up. Now, I know I'm going to this quite fast on this video. I would suggest if you're interested in a little bit more context behind this price action and the analysis, go and click on the link below. Go to this text version of the weekly analysis, and you will also get a little bit more context on the performance, week to date and year to date and month to date, along with looking at the various sector as well. So thank you for watching and good luck on your trading.